Evening and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge to talk about video games, about Dark Souls again. And not for the last time. How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm well. I'm on the tail end of Sekiro now, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah. I know when we last recorded, I think I had finished Bloodborne, or had come close to it.
Yeah, I feel like every time we start an episode, you're like smashing in your next game. So that's...
Yeah, I'm trying to make my way through the front games, the Miyazaki Era.
Yeah, definitely.
Games. Yeah. I would like to get my hands actually on the PS3 360 era Armored Core games, 4 and...
Wow, those would be cool pickups. They're a bit expensive now.
Like
I have looked.
Yeah, me too.
Man, it would be cool to maybe pick up those and give them a go and stream them maybe on the channel. That would be nice. Sick. Yeah.
One of the Armored Cores actually has crazy flying and stuff like that. It'd be worth. Yeah. But what are you playing right now, buddy?
I just finished up Dark Souls 1 finally, which is awesome because I can say that I'm in the same page as you there, smashing it out. And I'm moving on to 2 basically. I jumped into 2 a little bit. Honestly, 1 was really good. The final boss kind of not like, it wasn't that challenging, and I was kind of like, I don't want to say let down because it was such a great game and the final boss was fine. It just, I thought it'd be harder, but it's great that I just crushed it out in like maybe 10 tries.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty good.
It was awesome, man. Great game.
Yeah.
Felt amazing. Like,
probably felt easier coming off of the DLC bosses.
That's probably also the thing. Like, I had leveled up significantly after those bosses, and I was pretty powered up by the end there. I felt confident in my ability, and
good.
That was it.
Good. He's definitely a little bit easier than the endgame stuff. I think that's for sure.
Yeah.
It seems to be the trend in most of the Souls DLCs, actually.
Yeah, I want to say like the Dark Souls, more RPG styles feel, very, very different than any of the other From games, and it feels like you can get away with a lot of like blocking and stuff like that you don't have access to in like Bloodborne or Sekiro.
Yeah, that's right, for sure. I think that's the case. You can even break the game in ways you can't in the ones with less RPG mechanics. But
definitely,
Dark Souls 1 is special in a lot of ways, and I think
great game.
It's a good thing for people to play this January.
Yeah, I mean, like, frig, if you think about it, we're in January 2024, and this is the first time I've played through the entirety of Dark Souls 1. It's never too late if you're thinking about jumping into either that or any other Souls game. It's definitely now's a great time.
It's definitely not only not too late, it's nothing else to play.
It's a barren wasteland of no new releases.
What I've realized, though, playing these games lately is that, at least for me, I've enjoyed gaming so much more since I stopped caring about what's new.
Yeah,
and about keeping up with the community.
Yeah, of course.
It is, right?
We always try to keep up and always talk about the latest games. I mean, that's what we love and for sure. But there's something comforting, especially for me, of just like going back and playing games that, either old games that I've played before, ones that I haven't finished, and
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's nostalgic and it's comforting.
Yeah.
I think also, though, what does it matter if something's new? Like, I don't decide which novels or books I read based on if they're new. In fact, the opposite. I usually decide.
Music you listen to, like, I don't listen to.
I'm suspicious of, right?
I don't even know what new music.
Yeah, it's probably terrible. And the same attitude is probably appropriate here, especially when it comes to games like the Souls games, the Miyazaki Era Fromsoft games. Other things are not, to be frank, in the same class, not even remotely in the same class. Like, we talk about Ubisoft games like Prince of Persia or whatever other kind of junk is going to be dropping soon. We talk about
I'm not looking forward to that.
Talk about anything from Western AAA publishers, honestly, and it's not the same. They're not making the same kind of thing. We've talked about this so many times before, but I think a Souls game is different than a Call of Duty or a Assassin's Creed or whatever, because in one way or another, those are commercial products. They're commodities before they're
designed
games
to keep
or works of art, right?
Engaged and spending money and playing and whatever, right?
They don't exist because somebody conceived an idea worth expressing in video games as appropriate matter. They exist because they're brands that have this self-perpetuating gravity at this stage, right? The company will keep making them as long as people keep buying them.
Is it fair to say like Dark Souls 1 is one of the probably best video games ever created ever? Like, what are we saying?
In my opinion, yeah.
We say that for all of them?
I think they are the best games ever made. Yeah. Easily. I don't think that anything else, like, gaming is not like, cinema or any other kind of artistic medium that has this storied past where there were masters that their works totally surpass anything people now are capable of. It's not like that.
Right.
Gaming's past, if anything, is dilapidated and dumb. You know, it's full of like nonsense coin machine junk, right?
Oh yeah.
Things did not get worse.
Growing
over
pains
time.
and technological difficulties to overcome, and you know.
It's one guy I like. He says games always had a business problem. You know, they didn't have this storied like artistic past. Instead, they had a greasy commercial past, and they grew into something that's worth appreciating, not the other way around. So I don't look back on the history of games with any degree of.
It's true. You're right. Actually, it wasn't until they became like take-home products instead of, you know, arcade machines. That's why there's no nostalgia for me. Where, you know, like when people games. Grew up in the 80s kind of have that for like arcade stuff, but like for me, nothing, zero. Because like it was always games.
It's a different thing. Self-evidently, it's a different thing.
Yeah,
these are like, it's like reading a novel, right? The reason that it's done is because just like making a novel, the guys conceive something that's worth externalizing, and other people read it not to accomplish something or even necessarily to have fun. You don't read tragic stories to have fun in this crude sense that you know, Pac-Man, right? It's not like that. You do it because the idea, whether it's fun or not, is beautiful. It's satisfying to your intellect to engage with it, right? And that's why you play certain games, not why you play Call of Duty.
Nope.
But that's why you play good games, right? And that's not why you play arcade games either. That's not why games in the past were made or played. So I don't look back on previous eras of video game history with any degree of nostalgia or even respect. You know?
It's true. Really, there was probably only a few key people who really started to take it and make something with it. You know, like examples. Like I remember hearing about John Romero making Doom and Carmack, the other guy. They were working for a company that would just churn out like weekly little mini games, and like they would release it on a CD or whatever, and they were like kind of like, hey, this isn't really fulfilling my appetite. Like they wanted to take it to the next level and make, you know, Doom. Wow, Doom is still around. Hey,
for me, man, I realized that it could be different though when I played Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9 in my early, when I was like 10 or something like that, because everything else I had ever played, be it Spyro the Dragon or Tetris or Pokemon or whatever, like these games were whatever they were. They're not bad, they're not good and necessarily, but whatever they weren't like this.
No, it
wasn't an authentic gesture of world building and storytelling like a Final Fantasy is. And I played that and I was like, now I get it. Now I see what you can do with a game. And then from that moment onward, everything else that's merely a toy, it's not the same.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
talking about categorically different things. I don't think the industry really has tuned into this distinction, but it doesn't make it less real. Right? And that's what sets Souls games too apart from other stuff. Maybe Final Fantasy's in the same league as Souls. I'd be willing to concede that in terms of what people are trying to do. Although, of course, I have preferences. But I'd say Kojima games are like that too. Control is like that too, right? The difference between these and the commercial junk that's produced by AAA companies in the West is that those are products, you know? They're not made in the first place because the validity of the concept is worth it. Because the concept expressed in those games has any validity. That's not why they're made. They're made in the first place to satisfy some monetary ambition, and, you know, I think that's clear, man.
Yeah, and that's why pretty much any one of the Souls games you pick up, or like you even said, examples of other games, you know.
It's the difference between Dostoevsky and Twilight, you know? There's a difference. What is it? That's the difference. The same kind of difference that we're talking about here, right? The same thing. Between Dan Brown novels you buy at the airport and J.R.R. Tolkien. What's the difference, you know?
Yep.
That's the difference, right?
That's what we're looking at here, basically.
Yeah. That's why Souls games, you know, even if there was something to play, it's a bit misleading, the whole topic here, because even if there was something to play, I still think you should play these, you know? They're still better.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah. Like,
that's really what it comes down
I don't see myself stopping. I mean, pretty much the next game that's going to launch that will maybe take me, you know, detouring off of Souls will be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which doesn't drop until the end of February, which is the end of next month. Like, I still have some time, right? So, that's pretty good.
Yeah, man, I really, you know, playing these games again all at once, I've just
invigorate your love for the medium and the thing. Like, don't you just? It's so great.
I'm just so perfectly certain that everything else is junk.
Everything else sucks.
Just junk.
Oh no,
everything's so ruined now for me. So bad. I can't. You know.
Think you can play FF7?
Yeah, I
Rebirth. You'll get
sure. Oh, yeah.
I know I'll be fine with
you know,
that.
I was just trying to play Alan Wake 2, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I love Control. I love Remedy, but this game is not it's like I've expressed this before, but its entire combat component is just shoehorned in there, I think, to satisfy the COD bros or whoever else might not play this if it didn't have guns, because why is this here? It's awful, man. There's guys like the guy who made Minecraft, Notch there. There's all kinds of people who've made things that are profitable, and they're not makers of anything. They're not artists. Their minds are impoverished wastelands, right? These guys could cash out if they want also, bro.
Yeah, of course.
And go live on a yacht or whatever you want to do. Miyazaki's now on the Times 100 most influential people list.
Get out of here, really?
I swear to you,
That's amazing.
With a bunch of like world leaders and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm surprised, but not surprised. Like, he deserves to be there for sure, right?
Just to say the guy has the ability to do what he likes, but he's doing this because he is in the first place a maker of games, and
that's what he does, and I respect that.
And you can tell when you play the games he has made, right?
Oh yeah.
It's almost like, what the sensation I get is, man, when you read like Homer's Odyssey or something like this, epic poetry from ancient Greece, or the Bible or something. The tone of that. That's the same tone that you get when you play a Souls game. Right? That you don't get when you play something more just goofy. It feels like a cardboard cutout of a world. It doesn't have gravity. You don't take it seriously, right?
It's true.
Here it's like these weird metaphors are flying around. Nobody tells you anything what's actually going on, but you feel like you're immersed in something bigger than yourself that has meaning, that's worth understanding, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few places you get to, like for the first time when I walked through Anne Orlando, and I was like, wow, oh my God. And then you sort of pick up on tidbits of, what this place is. And
if you want to see why that's the most important thing and why all this hard gameplay would be worthless otherwise, just play Lords of the Fallen to see the difference. A game that, sure, it'll break your balls like a Souls game will, but it's awful. There's no purpose. It's just an empty husk. It's not...
Don't play that one.
Don't play it. Because it's the opposite of a good Souls game where, you engage with the world via these mechanics. They're, in fact, really appropriate to the subject matter, which is always about, in some way, like, transcending the human condition through this process of mortification, like you, the player, undergo as you play, right? But, other games show why, without the world building, all of that's for nothing.
Yeah, it's pointless.
Yeah. I think, play Dark Souls 1. I think that's a good place.
Dark Souls 1 is a great place to start. Bloodborne's a bit difficult, but also a good one, of course. Sekiro is probably a little bit on the harder side. Don't start there, but...
Although if you do, then you're going to be fine to play the rest of them, I think.
True.
Sekiro is great, man. It's, in my opinion, the best From Software game. Maybe not the best world they've made, but the best game. Easily the best game. It's perfect, I think.
I'd have a hard time arguing against you on that.
I think it's perfect. Even the way you see bosses again, usually you're not happy about that. But here it's like you're happy about that. You see the guy again, and it's not the exact same guy, and it's always in some way that reinforces the story. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Guardian Ape. Did you fight the Guardian Ape?
I did.
Yeah. You fight him in the first place, and you cut his head off, and and you read there how he was about. He's trying to find a mate, right? And later you go and you find him again, and he's missing his head, and he's got another ape with him. It's a whole thing, man.
Crazy.
I really enjoyed. Play Dark Souls 1. I had a friend whose birthday it was recently who is not that into video games, and I bought him Dark Souls 1.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's a good place to start.
It is a good place to start, because it's more of that, like, RPG aspect, and also there's a lot of places you can go from the start. You can kind of take your time and just, focus on leveling a bit, getting, without knowing where to go maybe at first, or just follow a guide, figure out where to go, and have fun.
Actually, you know what else might be a good place to start, buddy? 3 is user-friendly, I think.
True.
In ways that 1 is... You're not going to get lost playing 3.
Dark Souls 3 would have the most quality of life compared to the other two, so it also is... and they're this type of games that you can really just jump in at any point. Like,
for sure.
You could start at 2 if you want.
You can fast travel from the start.
It's
more linear, I think. I think in 1 you will miss a lot. Unless you are, like, reading wikis all day, right? Or you played through it a couple of times. I just played it again. I don't know how many times I played this game, but at least 2 or 3, and I didn't know anything. I was confused the whole time still.
There's a lot of areas,
outcomes for quests, Otherwise you're going to miss everything, right? You're going to miss bonfires.
You miss a lot of bonfires,
Especially the bonfires, which is a big deal, of course.
Yeah, you need them. These games have boss runs and stuff.
Or shortcuts. You're going to miss shortcuts to the bosses. Yeah, I think Dark Souls 1 is a good place to start, or Dark Souls 3. And you should play these over anything else this year.
Yeah, so far,
right
honestly,
now.
I would say that. Yeah.
Both because there's nothing else and because they're just better, man.
Yeah.
It's just better. There's nothing else to it. I think you'll agree if you try them out. Thank you guys very much. Take care.
Oh, yeah.